January 12th, 2020. My friends, it's happening. And this is Ceres. January 12th, 2020. Mr. Saturn and Pluto conjuncting in Capricorn in 22 degrees and 46 minutes for the first time in the sign of Capricorn since 517 years. It's a closure of a big cycle when the Spanish Empire started or finished a phase and the Ottoman Empire rised instead. And after the conquesting South America and all the matter happened in the world, all the gold value started through the Spanish that robbed the South American natives that used to live in a paradise on earth using plants and praying not to those religious Jesus or other, were connected to the Mother Earth and to the non-conditioned spirits we are relating by religious today. And this is closing and opening a brand new cycle. And all this 2020 is bringing to us a lot of shifts as well, as Jupiter is going to meet 3 times this year with Pluto, and a lot of outer planets moving to air sign as the lunar nodes are going to move to the axis of Gemini and Sagittarius, and Saturn will move to Aquarius, ruling the internet. Venus will retrograde during April in Gemini and will do a lot of turmoil in trade and in what we are valuing and knowing and communicating. The 5G issues as well, all the antennas communication issues. We need now to start taking care of ourselves, because also the asteroid Ceres, which related to agriculture and nature, is calling us to, is in 22 degrees together with Pluto and Saturn, and also telling us that is a new era for nature and agriculture, and the hints that we are receiving from Australia and other places in the world pretty much in our face. But we are very much afraid, because Saturn in its dignified position in Capricorn is very much giving the power to government and to all the rules we are obeying or not obeying, how we are going to proceed from here. And people want to be a good guy, a good person, obeying, a good citizen, whatever. And just yesterday, Uranus stationed to move direct, exactly 24 hours before this happening today. I'm recording this video few hours before this conjunction happening. I don't know what about you, but I feel the heaviness so strongly this weekend, and together with the lunar eclipse that we had, full moon in Cancer, that just floods in ourselves all different emotions that we started facing since the last few months, specifically when Mercury retrograded in Scorpio, prepared ourselves to face with the most scary things to ourselves. And what we're going to do with this, we have all the tools right now through energy interpretation I'm going to show you in the chart to fight to our rights. And let's see how it's starting. It's a very funny one. I'm following this astrologer, Molly McCord, and look how funny. I will attach it to the post. She's saying for this conjunction of Saturn Pluto, Saturn comes and saying, show me your papers and what you have been hiding. So Pluto tells him, die. We know that Pluto is an end. Pluto is transforming, and all this serious thing of Saturn. And Saturn comes and saying, it's time to take responsibility for what has occurred, as well as what we are going to do next. Pluto tells him, die. And Saturn tells him the consequences for all this are real. It's very serious. No love here. And Pluto tell him, die. Then Mercury, that is also with him, saying, hey guys, what's up? Here's some new information for you. I'll leave you here on the desk. And the Sun, that also in 22 degrees, saying like, it's cold here. I brought you all some light and warm blanket to help you get some work done while burning that midnight oil. And Ceres, that also in 22 degrees, comes saying, anyone care for some overnight oats? They are quite delicious. Saturn's continue and repeating, this is serious. A lot has happened. What that needs your attention now. And Pluto tell him, die. Meaning all those serious things that we are very much obeying and afraid from the rules that how it should be seems that arriving to the peak, to the cliff, and Pluto here is going to transform all these conditions. So what are they? We saw and we see already in government how the interaction globally is happening, but still a lot of information is hidden. And look what is happening today, January 12th, Saturn, Pluto, asteroid Ceres, agriculture, and the Sun, the center where the light and where the center of our consciousness is existing, together with Mercury that during the last 24 hours was in 22 degrees. This is something so rare and so spectacular. It's something that we understand already, or we want to understand. It's so tough to explain because when Mercury and the Sun are already connected and close to Saturn, we need already to see new laws and also to obey to another understanding who we are and what our lesson, and to act with this. But because Pluto is here, and Pluto is showing here a transformation, that all what you thought that you obey and what is important and what is now the case to do money or what's the case now to win is about to change. Pluto is transforming everything, even transforming the most mean ingredient in the energy, Saturn. This god is melting, is burning its temple. And the last time that Saturn and Pluto met was 35 years ago, and they met in the sign of Libra. Something about here, and few earlier than later, they moved together to Scorpio, and then we revealed the eights and all what we have started in the last 35 years with this episode of Saturn Pluto changed the cycle of relationship and marriage in the world. So now it's not shame to be single in about 40 or forever and not having children, or before it was so traditional, and all this traditional relationship issues has changed. Also interesting to check for yourself around this time in 1985 what happened with relationship around the world, and we're speaking about the Cold War, Russia, United States, etc., and all different dynamics have been changed, and now we are speaking about a new structure, because this is the bond system, this is the infrastructure of our life and our bond system. Very important to remember that all what is happening now and all what we are understanding and going to see transformed in front of our eyes is about decision that taking us to 35 years. This is very important timing, and not just because Saturn and Pluto, but because the Sun and Mercury are coming into this point together with what we saw Jupiter and the South Node that connected to release all our past belief system, religious, etc., and what we believed to our politics, speaking in our biggest media, to if we related them to be reliable and honest and the right figure to follow. Seems that we are hearing more and more people speaking about the corruption, and those are corruptive. So are you following a corruptive identity, or are you aligned with another level of truth? And also to our life, what you have been taught to yourself, and what you learned by the last 12 years since 2008 with all the last crisis we saw. And this is by itself telling about so many belief systems, Jupiter South Node, that need to release and are releasing now, even you are not noticing because it's so congested now. We are seeing it transforming inside of ourselves, and it's like, imagine that something is happening right now within your bones. So maybe you are busy now reading newspaper or listening to music, but something is happening in your bones now, and until you are going to start standing or moving, maybe you will start noticing the changes. But this is something that we must to realize that is changing in government's policies, and also in how people are going to react with this. How I'm speaking about people, because Uranus exactly 24 hours before this huge event that happens today started to move direct, and we are finally see Uranus not in red but direct. And look, generally all the chart is moving direct. So right now things are going to transform very quick, very strongly, and Mars is in Sagittarius, so giving us a lot of ability and momentum to push forward, and what we need to explore, also to explore and to take a chance to a better future that is very much related to nature. And we really need to revalue what is more important, having available water and food, or having gold storage some way. Of course, this is something that we need to trade with, but see how without so many animals now that have disappeared from life cycle, and trees in Australia. This is immense. This is speaking about a so huge area, and it seems that it's not going to be the end or the last here if we are not going to wake up. And don't forget all the plastics and all the pollution that is happening in different areas around us. And this is all the messages right now with Uranus moving direct. People need to wake up. And Ceres, together with the sun, this is Mother Nature speaking here. Yesterday, I was fascinated by, I went to a documentary movie that called The Medicine, that is related to the ayahuasca plant and the ritual they are doing in South America, and mentioned more than once about all stopped 500 years ago, since the Spanish came conquering their lands and avoiding them to use, making it illegal to use the ayahuasca and to pray to their gods, teaching them Christianity and teaching them new behavior, how to be a more educated person. They related all the drugs that is related to the DMT involved in the ayahuasca to something barbarian or something not respectful. But this is about, they were connected to nature. I took some good years ago ayahuasca, and it was one of the best spiritual experiences ever in my life. And I'm very much eager to experience it again, to deepen in this journey. And I really experienced what they are telling. The plant transformed itself to a guide, and suddenly I heard sort of the ayahuasca become like a speaker that guided me through the most dark and conscious sides that a person in awakened situation cannot arrive. And they are speaking about how all this natural connection and how they can heal so much. And look at the quantity of depression in the current world. All this disconnection that we are living between blocks and rocks and separating ourselves from plants and from nature is very much the trigger here to suffering and illness and burning it to us. This is more worrying than speaking about a war or a trade war or all this bullshit for generating credit cards and money. Without healthy, we are nothing. we understand, some people understand finally. Once you are arriving to the wealth ingredient, you understand what is more important. And we saw all these rich people that try to enjoy the money through sex, and then all the Me Too started erupting the truth one by one, and people that fell into another addictions due to trying to feel their happiness, that very much drained with boredom by having the money and now not having to work, or disconnection. And people are using this wealth to abusement. Of course, some other wealth people could use it for improving humanity, but unfortunately they are not the majority. And we need really to think what is in our face and what is really more important, and what is our inner call to follow. Uranus, you are going to hear within yourself, and through the fast changes that are going to happen right now in governments around the world and nature situation, a lot of inner calls that will push you to go here or there, or to change your past paradigm relationship with everybody, with anything. Whether it's family, whether it's government, whether it's business oriented, and others. So it's very much to take in mind. Let's look what is happening the day after January 13, that numerologically is very important and very much speaking about an end and a new start. Because look, for me, this January 12th, now we are end of the year, an end of the decade, an end of an era. Here in January 13, we are officially entering to a new era. Because look, this is very much subtle change here, with a degree of Saturn that is in 22 and 54 degrees, just few minutes after Pluto. Saturn is like the old guy, very slow movement, and Pluto is more slower, but representing the abyss, the darkness, the death. And Saturn right now is crossing Pluto, and we didn't see for long years now an outer planet passing Pluto. And Saturn, the karma, the malefic, is doing it together with the Sun and Mercury. And I think that, and with asteroid Ceres, that from tomorrow, January 13th, this is something that start to unfold in our mind. And Saturn-Pluto conjunction is very much a revealer of all what was manipulated and governed us and hidden from us, and in so many levels. And it's very interesting to see what will start to unfold from here, because this effect is like a very slow dissolving into a reality, because there are very strong materials. It's like the process of a rock becoming sand, and this is happening. But this is the critical timing that we are noticing, that just thinking about what civilization, what's the world became since 500 years ago and since 35 years ago, and what is now we are going to go. So what is happening on January 13 is Venus moving to her lovely sign of Pisces. Now Venus can start feeling for the coming month some more romantic, or some more peace and a need for love. This is a call here for love. And very interesting that the number 13, and I spoke about it in a previous few months ago video, that the number 13, 1-3 in geometry, Hebrew geometry, is related to love. In Hebrew, we are saying love, ahava. Ahava means love. And this is the geometry of number 13, has more significant. This is also the bar mitzvah age of a man starting to take responsibility on his actions. And very interesting that the number 13 is also the first cycle after Jupiter completing a cycle, because Jupiter takes 12 years to complete a cycle, meaning experience, learning, exploration, and then from the 13, it's something that you are starting to restructure yourself into maturity and being more responsible to your action. So we are speaking here about a need for unifying power. The moon will be in 3 degrees in Virgo and will oppose Venus in Pisces. And this is very much emotionally starting a little bit of a confusion between criticism to love. It's much easier to criticize, or maybe the opposite of love is criticism. When we are not accepting someone's action or words, we are criticizing it. When we are accepting, or even accepting ourselves with less criticism and seeing so many details, and just accepting is meaning love. When you accept yourself, you love yourself. When you are not accept me, you are not loving me. If a person is telling you, I accept you by what you are doing, but by anything you are, meaning she loves you. So don't believe to just, I love you. Do you accept me? Do you receive? This is the condition for real love. And it seems that emotionally we're going to be still very much criticizing. And probably we have a lot of case why, because we are going to see a lot of new truth starting to reveal to us, and our personal and global structure is also about to change. And right now, this is very interesting timing with Uranus moving direct, that I'm repeating on it, that is about to start gathering power of like-minded people and speaking about community. And Venus in Pisces very much will call to people to start creating something together. And I'm very much welcoming all of us in generating anything that could at least connect people. When people start being connected and caring about each other, big changes are starting to happen, and we are feeling more safe and more secure against all the rulers that are very much like to separate us. So very interesting that Venus, let me change here a color. Venus is going to start, and Mercury also, doing a trine and Venus is going to do a sextile with Uranus, and Mercury is going to participate this trine to do a square to Mercury, to Uranus, okay? So this is going to, this is a square and this is a trine, okay? So let's separate them both. Venus is going to do a trine with Uranus. This is what I'm just speaking about, tribe, thinking about how we can connect and how to find our people. And this is also a preparation to the next sign that the sun will move to, the Aquarius, speaking about connecting people and finding your people, finding a new environment and find new solution to start moving into what is more fair and more balanced. And we are going to see more protest. And now we are seeing in Iran a lot of, after the Soleimani funeral event, sadness, crying, revenge calling. After the event with the aircraft of the Ukrainian, they are now against the government. We are going to see more happening, a lot of protests that seems that that time are going to be very violent and very quick and aggressive, and we need to take care of it and to think how we are going to do it with more smart way and not to fall into violent anarchism that may harm others finally, doing it wise. Very interesting that we are entering those days to the year of the rat, according to the Chinese astrology and finishing the pig year. And this is a time that think about the rat behavior that is very much smart and working in community and finding ways to survive and eating the blocks, eating the plastic, eating everything around in order to pass the barriers, which is that the pigs cannot do because of so much greediness and fat and comfort zone. Here we are very much needing to think about with who should I connect? Who are my people? Who are my like-minded people that I love to be with, that are empowering me, that are reflecting the truth of what I believe about myself, and letting the new structure and the old structure to fall down, and we are starting to move forward. Now, it's not going to be very easy to create this change because of this Mercury in the coming days. Let's see already January 15, we are seeing how Uranus is in 2 degrees and Mercury coming fast. Now we are seeing more exact the trine between Venus to Uranus, more a need for love and compassion. But as both Sun and Mercury are going to create a square with Uranus, this is about a conflict that this is a conflict that is a challenge that we need to come over it by accepting other ideas. We cannot. This is a lot of compassion for being together with like-minded people, but we need to learn accepting other ideas and other actions. And this is very much helping us to plan a new strategy, even by individual, how you are going to proceed from here, you are going to interact even by online image and your websites, in the new world order that is starting right now. And we have all the tools and the structure as Mars is in 8 degrees, and very interesting to be on the same degree, 1 sign difference between the South Node. And this is about exploring new way and finding new, authentic, new, not as before, new, brand new opportunities and new people to connect with, to start building a new strategy that will help you being involved and protected. Also Ceres here, protected and nurtured by the like-minded people and with who you are. Don't forget who you are, because you are not going to forget yourself to be one of a sect. It's not about calling you to be participating in one sect just to be involved with other people. You need to put the ticket on yourself. Let's think about the kitchen ingredient. I'm bread, I'm milk, with each one has a quality and ingredient to help creating a great meal. So we don't need to be all the same. We cannot be all milk or powder, sort of. This is the meaning here. We are proceeding into a new world, and this is a call for people acting and interacting. It's going to be a little bit of euphoric in a way in the coming even 2 weeks, as Venus is going to come closer to Neptune, and we will speak about it already next week. But another thing that I will tell about those energy of Mercury and the Sun from the end of this week. Let's see it here. This is exactly, or easier to see, from January 16th, Mercury is moving officially to Aquarius. And when Mercury is moving to Aquarius, starting to form this square to Uranus. And as I've said, this is a challenge that you are not forgetting yourself inside of other people, group or opinion or any thing that you see others doing that you very much love or you want to connect with them. You need to stand on your own and to go with your higher cause and strategy to lead you into a great things. Now, because this square to Uranus and this trine with Venus, this is a big shift here that is going to happen in markets. So I do think that we're going to see here another unexpected, I would call, rally in crypto, let's speak Bitcoin, to take another leg up, and something uncertainty in other markets. With gold also, it's something like we are speaking about looking into the hedging products to save us from the corruptive stock market or the corruptive Federal Reserve actions doing what they are doing. And this will be very interesting to look from the middle of January. We've started already seeing it as pretty much aligned with our prediction to oil and commodities and crypto. And it seems that is going to continue, but you saw already to where I'm showing you it to continue into the end of the January. But now we are seeing it astrologically speaking with this Mercury-Uranus square and Venus-Uranus sextile that is very much inside of the New World Order, where all planets are moving direct. So this is January 18th, and we're looking on Saturday. In Saturday, we are seeing exactly the culmination of this square Mercury-Uranus. So definitely that into this end of the week, we're going to see big tension in the trade and market, and very interesting to see what in the world and governments are going to happen. This is a lot of tension after what happened with Iran, and Iran has a big deal, as I showed you already past week, the natal chart of Iran with Uranus in 22 degrees that receives exactly this conjunction. And after all what we are as human being and as geopolitical situation with Jupiter South Node, we're in 8 degrees, that things that have worked so far are not anymore, and we are needing to find a new collaboration. And I also think about countries starting to build another parties or another interaction with different other countries or identities. But it seems in general, as we spoke in the beginning, that 500 years ago, we spoke about, let me correct it, 500 years ago, we spoke about the end of the natives in South America and the Christianity conquering them with all the tradition of the West, robbing their gold and bringing a wealth, and also cacao and chocolate that we are enjoying today in the West, but stealing all of this from the natives in South America. And we saw already that 500 years ago, also around this time, the Spanish Empire fell and another empire rose, and it was the Ottoman Empire. So we are very much into a timing that we're going to see a shift in who is ruling what, and what is the new value to follow. And I'm not very much sure that even that I see gold rising in this year, but in the paradigm of how we are trading gold or thinking about accumulating gold is not going to be the alignment of where we are in evolution right now. And we are needing to think that this is a new world order. So if gold was anyhow the accumulation of the past and all the ingredient also by nature that the Spanish stole from the South American natives, the Indians, we need to think differently. We don't want to repeat on the exact same way about taking more gold. We are seeing how the governments are right now trying to even regulating the gold accumulation. I saw different news happening in Europe, what they allow to each one accumulating. I think that there are another products in the world right now that you want to carry about, that even not just for trade purposes in the stock market or commodities the regular way, but others think that will give you advantage. And I'm pretty much sure that is connected to agriculture. And agriculture is going to be a big thing. And in the past, and it was also written in the Bible, Abraham was the most wealthy person in his era, and all what he owned was pots of water. He knew to detect where water exists, and he just sold the resources of water, for example. So it's sort of just example to what is going to be missing or to be more necessary in such a new era we are going for. But before anything, we need to think about a new paradigm and connecting in a new way, even through technology. We need to get prepared into what is coming next in this year, when Venus will retrograde in Gemini, and so many energies shifting to Gemini too. It's very much speaking about a lot of noise, a lot of movement, and a lot of changes. So we need really to get prepared with it, and very much connected to connection between people. And my nephew just told me that I laughed about that. They are starting to develop new language between them, like Morse language and other signs that not just as we communicated in the past that our parents won't understand us. They are doing it in a more sophisticated way. So it's not just kryptonizing the money. It's also about kryptonizing the way we are communicating. I think that new languages also are about to start involved, and this just after this crazy week event with this Mercury square Uranus, I think that people are going to learn and need from here to learn communicating in brand new way, and privacy. It's one of the most important keyword we need to remember as we are going forward into this year, specifically after this winter. Very much to bear in mind. I'm very much worried about it, and warning everybody for taking advantage of what possible right now before things get accelerated and the 5G is going to be installed in much more ways, and they are upgrading all the operating system and installing new cookies that you are just need to agree. And most people are not even reading it, because if you disagree, you have no access to those devices, let's say. So we need really to start preparing ourselves. This is another cause why I'm seeing crypto rising value into later of this year. And specifically after the spring into the end of the winter, we are going to see a correction, as I showed you previously. So just a quick look on Sunday, January 19th, we are seeing both Saturn and Pluto in 23 degrees. It's another crazy. They are continuing traveling together, and Pluto is a brand new era. It's a brand new region after the retrogression, and for Saturn as well. This is a new story. All this week is just the week of the new unfolding, and we really don't know how it is going to take us. It's a new. When it's a brand new, you don't know. No one can tell you what is about. It's very much a need for creativity, and very much related to people unifying power, people collaborating in a way that you even need to start thinking for yourself with who would you like to connect, and not just to find websites that are offering social bank or social. It's about creating something even with a very unique group of people, even 2, 3, starting to create a small pieces of groups that you are supporting each other in something, or even having a one bank that will call something, I don't know, like little companies that people are starting to come along together. This is the end of the individualism. Actually, being individual right now is one of our most risky situation to work because this is the power of the old beast, that needing people to be vulnerable, acting alone, and all their data captured in the way that they managing according to all needs. Also consuming. The more we are sharing powers, we can save a lot, even by sharing apartment or by sharing even digital products. It's giving us a lot of ease with another resources of people. But we need to let go of territory, mine. All this thing that we are want to have taboo on something is our hint for freedom and liberty. So very quickly, just to remember what I showed you last week, United States, exactly on the day today, January 12th, 2020, this is Pluto, Ceres, Saturn, the Sun in 22 degrees, and United States has Neptune in 22 degrees. And Neptune with Lilith in the 9th house is very much speaking about a corruptive trade and very much a worry related to medicine and the pharmaceutical industry. That is a very huge call. And I think that something is going to start unfolding in this level, and with this Pluto, Saturn, Mercury, Sun, Ceres 22 acting on this thing. And later on in this year, we are going to see Mercury that of the United States is in 24 degrees, because Jupiter later, first time it will meet with Pluto in March 2020, and will do exact opposition to Mercury. And this is very much related to, of course, trade, the debt of the US, and Trump and the Federal Reserve action. So it's going to be another revelation, another shock. I already said in past videos that I see that something very dramatic is starting unfolding from March. And let's see how this Mercury in 24 degrees also will react. And this Neptune we need all to look at, because the Neptune in the 9th house in this exact position also related to international trade and international relationships that are very much shady and very much liquidating money for in a lying way. And I think that something is going to burst out of it. And let's look on China. That seems to be the rising empire. Jupiter in 22 degrees. And officially, for the first time in history, both Saturn and Pluto rising on Jupiter of China. And this is crazy. And on the same day, we are seeing the Mars is coming on Chiron in the 10th house. So it seems that something is about to happen, or to take a risk sort of in government in order to take advantage of what is coming. And this is very much unknown. This is another shady thing, because Jupiter in the 12th house is ruled by Neptune. Like the United States has official Neptune in 22 degrees. China has Jupiter, which is a revelation, but in the 12th house, it's hidden. So all their expenses concept or purchasing, that they are purchasing beneath the surface so many places, and they purchase so many territories also already in Australia, and now we're seeing so many issues with water, and they are about to kill thousands of camels just because they are drinking too much water. And the miners areas in Australia purchased by China. This is about the quiet conquestor. This is China thing, and I think that they are going to take advantage of many places that are going to be distracted now by so many different reasons, and to start building here a new empire. And this is another thing that we need to take in mind, because this is very much huge environmental changes that are coming. Uranus in the third house, and look, all Mercury and Sun and Neptune in the eighth house. They are purchasing other people, other companies, other countries, and others become dependent by them. So it seems that the new Federal Reserve sort of, or whatever will control, or maybe by any blockchain or any robots machine, will be related to what Chinese machine will create. And it's very much interesting to look at it and to see what we can take out for our advantage as well. But community, this is the solution for our life and for the new world right now. We cannot anymore, after that we finish now the relationship paradigm story, that still some people having this Cinderella stories. They want to get married, they are looking for the one, to live one and one in one bed and all this. Yeah, this is still a place for love and for duality, but all the concept that actually conditioned us to want it, and what is illegal and what is legal, or what is accepted by society or not, is about to change, and already changed. I think that already changed. We see already the acceptance in general in the world, to even the Pope is accepting a homosexual relationship in a way by non-condemning it. But it seems that the masses in a general way already accepting another way of unifying a marriage concept. A lot of people are pro-civil marriage and not a religious marriage. And now we are into a new structure, and to follow another rules. And this is why we needed Jupiter South Node in the last weeks, and all this emotional lunar eclipse that we had, that is going to affect on us in the next 6 months. And now Saturn and Pluto. It's going to revolutionize and transform our world and the structure that we are following, what we were believing before and what not anymore, and what we are now going to continue and in which way. So some of our fears need to go to the toilet, splash them forever, because they are based on fears that are not anymore related. Think about the Inquisition time 500 years ago, and how people were afraid to do this or other, not obeying or not hiding or being this or other. And what is about your freedom now, and what you are going to obey or to be afraid of now, according to the condition you are accepting to change. Also, so this is all, my friends. I'm going to share it tomorrow as a service to general public, because it's very important, out of Patreon. And I think that we are going to a much better world if more and more people are awakening and shifting their ideals and materialistic paradigm into something more spiritual, at least more closer, something to nature, as the Indians, natives, South Americans used to do, to have until 5 years ago. Bye for now. Love you all. Bye.